And welcome back to No Kings on the Hill with Dr. Hill Law. I'm your host, Dr. Hill. Tonight, I've got Viking with me as fill in for my usual co-host, and we wanted to cut through all the nonsense of what's going on in Minneapolis and St. Paul. Forget the videos everyone is sharing on social media. Forget the signs you've been seeing floating across your Facebook feed. We want to discuss what investigators think was planned because of how it could affect your constitutional rights. Protesting is not the issue here. Police response is not the issue here. This is about organized encrypted communication and whether or not it violated the law. It is also about why Minnesota seems to be the epicenter of these investigations time and time again. Also, if you are new, please hit that follow or subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future episodes. Like and comment so this live gets pushed out, and check out our website, No Kings on the Hill with drhillaw.com, where you can get access to our past and future episodes and sign up for access to my weekly blog. And for now, I'm going to go to a word from our sponsors, and then we will come back and start the full show. And
Heard of Q Broadcast? It's taking the world by storm. People are cutting the cord to their high cable bills and moving away from streaming services like Netflix, Hulu, and others for something better. Q Broadcast. For just $60 a month, you'll get access to every channel you could ever want, including HBO, Cinemax, and Starz. And the best part? There are no contracts, no hidden fees, and you're free to cancel anytime. With Q Broadcast, you can enjoy streaming live TV, movies, and top series on up to 5 devices at once. Whether you're at home or on the go, Q Broadcast makes sure your entertainment is always at your fingertips. Imagine being able to watch all your favorite channels from anywhere, anytime, without any restrictions. We're talking about thousands of movies, hundreds of TV series, and a huge library of live channels, all in one place. And don't forget video on demand and pay-per-view events. Those are included at no extra cost, so you'll never miss a big event again. Now, take a second and think about your current cable bill. You're probably paying anywhere between $100 and $300 every month, locked into long-term contracts and hit with surprise rate increases. With Q Broadcast, that's a thing of the past. It's just $60 a month. No contracts, no extra fees, no hidden costs, and no price hikes. Why juggle multiple subscriptions like Netflix, Hulu, and cable when Q Broadcast gives you everything you need in one convenient package? People everywhere are switching to Q Broadcast, saving money and getting more content than ever before. So, what are you waiting for? Click the link in the description and sign up for Q Broadcast today. Just $60 a month, no contracts, no hidden fees. It's time to take control of your entertainment and start streaming smarter.
on No Kings on the Hill, we explore power, accountability, and the Constitution fearlessly and fairly. The topics for tonight's episode include the riots in Minneapolis, revelations about encrypted signal chats that appear to have been used to coordinate tracking of federal immigration enforcement, and an escalating federal inquiry into whether those actions constituted free speech or illegal obstruction. What's going on? Why are these events happening almost exclusively in Minnesota? Where does the First Amendment stop and federal supremacy begin? And why won't so many media outlets address the legal implications whatsoever? So let's get into that and find it out. Now, I'm going to start with my monologue, and then I will get back over to Viking, and we'll debate and talk about this. And also, we're going to show a video from James O'Keefe. So for several days now, we have heard one story from the American people: civil unrest in Minneapolis, anger in the streets, and raw emotion on display. Again, it's happening, and for only just there in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And what's the fact is that buried underneath that storyline, though, is something far more significant than what we've been shown, something far more troubling if left unchecked. Sources have confirmed that the FBI is investigating the use of signal chats in Minnesota. Not group text, large organized chats, hundreds of people in some cases exchanging real-time information of federal immigration enforcement action, including government officials. That in of itself is not illegal. Let's be very clear about that. Using encrypted messaging apps is not illegal. Peaceful protest is not illegal. And attacking the federal government is not illegal verbally, obviously physically attacking, but not attacking by your words. But organizing through encrypted messaging to track federal officers in real time, to post their locations, to route protesters to federal activity, to target officers as they're trying to do their jobs, that is crossing the line from speech into obstruction. And that matters. The FBI has indicated they are investigating possible obstruction, not free speech. They want to know if encrypted conversations cross the line into criminal conduct. Investigating is not authoritarianism. Holding criminals accountable is the rule of law. But what's really fascinating about these signal chats has been not just the content, but where they appear to be centralized. Minneapolis, Minnesota. This is not happening in Texas, not in Arizona, not Florida. Multiple sources are reporting that signal chats tracked immigration enforcement activity around Minneapolis, hinting at coming protests and encouraging migrants to move. It's happening in Minnesota, where we've seen these kinds of attacks on federal authorities before. This is a state that's proud of its resistance to federal immigration law that allows violent actors to enter the federal courthouse on felony grounds, where local officials routinely thump their chest at the federal government, then looks the other way while people get hurt. So the question we should be asking is, why does this keep happening in Minneapolis, Minnesota? Why is Minnesota the proving ground for how far these people will push back on federal law? And why are constitutional standards suddenly thrown out the window when the agenda is liberal activism? If federal officers can't do their jobs without being targeted, then that's a problem, period, full stop. The First Amendment does not protect people from consequences when they illegally obstruct federal law. Encrypted messaging doesn't give you special privileges. Federal authority doesn't stop at the state border. Article 5 of the Constitution Article 6 actually states that. But we're also seeing something else play out, something else we saw during the course of this investigation. Instantly, someone tweets out names. Someone else piles on without checking facts. Stories are propagated online, and long before anybody has any details, judgments have already been passed. Meanwhile, the mob escalates in response to these headlines. Chaos metastasizes, and the only people who suffer are the Americans who just want to live their lives in peace. That's why winners have discipline. We will not convict people on the tweets of sketchy accounts, but we also will not ignore stories just because they may implicate people we like. If a federal investigation is being opened, we report it. If there was coordination to attack federal officials, we'll cover that too. But most importantly, we will actually focus on what happened instead of who might have been or had access to the groups. So that's what we're looking at tonight. And then legacy media won't do this. So we will. And we will tell you the difference between lawful protest and obstruction. We will tell you about federal rights versus state pushback. And we will ask how Minnesota keeps being the battleground state for federal enforcement and why that matters. Because at the end of the day, this is still a country of laws, and no one gets to pick and choose which laws they obey or which laws they decide to disobey. Not criminals, not politicians, and definitely not anarchists with riots and chaos that are being paid for by foreign actors and outside actors. Minnesota government officials who have been accused of being involved in the signal chats, directing chaos, and attacking on ICE include Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan, Governor Tim Walz, and Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey. Now let me get back to with Viking, and I'm going to just go ahead. This is the Viking. He has his own podcast here on the Patriot Prayer Network too. Also, I wanted to mention that would like to thank the Patriot Prayer Network for having us. Joe, my usual co-host, is not feeling too well tonight, so I had to pull somebody in real quick. But go ahead and introduce yourself, Viking.
How you doing? I'm the Viking. Like Dr. Hill said, we're starting out a podcast as well. I want to appreciate the Patriot Prayer Network for giving us the opportunity, and I want to thank Dr. Hill for having me up. It's kind of last moment, so I wasn't really prepared, but we're going to get in here and do the best we can.
Yeah. So, I mean, have you been seeing about all the signal chats and everything going on? And
oh yeah, I see. It's nonsense, man. You know, the reality is when you start looking, because they have these encrypted, they're given their license plates numbers, where they're staying, they're given their names, their addresses. So they're putting families in jeopardy to save immigrants that are here illegally.
Oh yeah, and
it just doesn't make sense to me how you're going to scream, protect the people when you're jeopardizing American citizens who are doing their job.
Yeah, and I know you can verify this. I've been saying since these riots started and all this chaos had started after Renee Good that there was
Mhm.
no way that this was some organic
No.
grassroots thing. It was, I mean, all you had to do was look at the signs and all the equipment that they had and how they've got all this, all these tactical gear equipments and gas masks
Mhm.
and vests and everything. And I'm like, that stuff's not cheap. I mean,
No.
it's not. And then,
No.
or you knew that they were being paid and outsourced. And there's obviously, while it hasn't been proved yet, there is we're starting to see some connections to the Chinese party and everything like that.
Mhm.
Also, we're talking. I was talking about on earlier TikTok live today on a with a Rebel Intel the and a couple other people that they were saying that this we've noticed like the protests have almost ramped up again because of stuff that's going on with the United States and Iran and China. It's almost like they're trying
Mhm.
to throw more discord and division into the United States and to get us more
Absolutely.
separated than together.
Well, that's always been the game plan. That's been the game plan since we were children. If they keep us mad at each other, we're not looking at them. And
Yeah.
that's just the reality of it. Anytime something big hits the news, I always ask people, what do you think they're hiding from you now? So that's my thing. I just want people to open their eyes to what if. We have to make sometimes judgment calls without all the information. But like you said, it's not organic. It's not natural. You can see when they have all of these pop-up signs that you can clearly see were made and not handwritten at home. It wasn't a spur of the moment thing. This was thought through.
Oh yeah, and like I've said this because I hear people say, "Oh, that's misinformation," stuff like this. Okay, one, what it's not misinformation saying that okay, Peggy. Now, obviously, while we don't have physical evidence that Lieutenant Governor Peggy
Mhm.
Flanagan or Tim Walz or Mayor Ticket Fry were actually involved in the chats, what we do know is that there was somebody inside the government running license plates for the people out protesting. There are
Right,
actual
and sharing
pictures
that
of
information.
there are
Right,
actual pictures of these signal chats of people giving somebody a license plate and then them coming back and saying, yes, that is so and so, or this is so and so. There's no way they're getting out without somebody at the DMV or somebody within the government or the police department or something like that. While there
right.
may not be proof that it's Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan, but some of the, because nobody uses the real name in signal chats, there's a couple ones in there that kind of would be hard to not say that it couldn't be her or that it
Yeah.
couldn't be Tim Walz. And so
Right.
and in the United States, you're innocent until proven guilty, but that doesn't mean somebody can't say, oh, this looks like them. That doesn't mean it's misinformation. That's just taking critical thinking, looking at the aspects on the ground, what's going
Mhm.
on, and looking at the fact that all this started right after Nick Shirley exposed $9 billion
Absolutely.
in welfare fraud. Then all of a sudden,
Mhm.
amazingly, not less than a week, maybe a week at the most, after Nick Shirley's video, bam, the Renee Good incident. And the
Mhm.
problem is, and you hear her in the video go, I'm an American citizen. Like it's like these people on Signal Chat, these government officials are telling them, hey, they're not real cops. They're not real police. They
Right.
can't touch you if you're not an illegal immigrant. So just blow your whistle and tell them you can obstruct. That's not illegal. You can sit there, tell them you're an American citizen. They have to stop. No, they don't. They
Right.
are federal law enforcement. And
Mhm.
there are specific codes, even outside of immigration, that they can still arrest you for and detain you for.
Right,
They
because
don't.
they're interjecting themselves into a federal investigation, and they're like you said, they're being told from their leadership that it's okay and it's within their constitutional rights, but they're leaving out the facts. You can protest, but you cannot impede in that investigation. You cannot in any way hinder that investigation. And again, like you say, it's funny how certain things seem to happen when other things become visible. So with all of the fraud going on, all of a sudden Omar at what was that a town hall meeting gets squirted with a liquid out of a
Oh
syringe.
yeah, but it ended up being just like
Apple cider vinegar.
apple cider vinegar, which almost makes you think that's like staged. Because
Yeah,
really,
because again, she had no concern of the liquid that was sprayed on her. If you had no knowledge, you would be very concerned,
yeah,
but she
if you
wasn't.
it's like if you had no knowledge of what was happening that
Mhm.
and somebody sprayed liquid out of a syringe on you, you wouldn't know if that is fentanyl, you wouldn't know if that's a
Right,
poison infested or a disease
right.
infested that's
Anything.
shooting towards your eye. I mean, anything that could literally seriously
Mhm.
harm you or injure you. So it makes you wonder how she did. Like, she must have
Well,
known that was going to happen. That was a stage trying to
yeah.
deflect from
Well,
her,
did
trying to
did you see
deflect.
the video with the nod?
Oh yeah, but trying to deflect from her $25,000 winery that has no wine that somehow is now becomes worth $5 million in a year, and
Right.
somehow her $25,000 in worth goes to $25 million in 4 or 5 years. And it's like, I'm sorry, but all that winery is, and this is just common sense, and it's obviously it's speculation, but what I see a money laundering scheme.
Mm-hmm.
I see it's as a legitimate business for her to launder the fraud that she's getting from either insider trading or the welfare scams and the taxpayer fraud, to run it through in a legitimate business and washing the money.
Right.
That's all it's for.
Right.
It's to clean the money so she has a way to pay taxes on and claim it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, the American people are not naive and ignorant, and they want to play that we are. Simply put, if any one of us had a business, and in that business we were making $1,000 profit a year, and then inside of 2 years with no significant change in our business, now we're all of a sudden making $25 million.
Yeah, that's not.
You can bet the
statistically
IRS would be crawling all over us.
Oh yeah, because I'm sorry, you have a website that barely works. You don't have any
Mhm.
proof of major new contracts or new
Right.
people
No accounts.
purchasing or selling
Right.
new accounts, anything like that. And to this person, Joe, that goes, "What? Now you're a mind reader?" No, I'm not a mind reader. It's just common sense to think,
Yeah.
okay, if you're a public figure, you're being attacked and talked down, people are threatening you, and you're up at a speech and somebody sprays something on you, you're not just going to stand there
No.
unless you know
Not
what it is.
right. Not even just the littlest bit. I mean, my immediate concern would be so many concerns. And
yeah.
and I found it funny that she stood up there and said, "We're gonna fight. We're Minnesota strong."
Like
That kind of looked
she was
kind
trying
of
to
looked
make,
a little planned.
well, yeah, she was trying to make herself look like Trump when he actually got shot.
Right.
She's
And
trying to
that's exactly the narrative I saw.
yeah.
But when you seen that gentleman, and I use that term loosely, but when you seen that gentleman get up, cross the span of at least 10 feet, wobbling because he looked completely inebriated,
Yeah.
and then pulls this out, which was a syringe that looked like a cattle syringe. This was not a diabetic syringe. This thing was monstrous. He pulls this out, shoots it at her, and she goes toward him. So again, it looked all planned, and it looked fake. It didn't look genuine. And her lack of concern, that's a concern for me.
Well, Ronnie, tonight's subject has nothing to do with Epstein files. If you want to hear about the Epstein files and what I've said about it, you can go look at previous podcast episodes. I've done at least 2 or 3 on that. Tonight is about Minnesota and the riots and the anti-government stuff going on that's being driven to try to cover up the fraud. The signal chats that are coming out that are proving that to prove a lot of this stuff has been coordinated and even possibly coordinated by government officials.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, that has not been proven yet, but we won't find that out until the FBI is done with their investigation, because obviously, if they do have that, they're not going to release it all at once because they're going to hold their evidence too close to the vest. Now, obviously, there's been some leak outs and stuff, and I know that the Patriot Dad and Non de Plume and SK have got some pretty good damning information to prove that was who they were, and found some evidence to show who it was. I didn't get to catch their podcast last night on covering all that stuff on YouTube, but they pretty much covered a lot of that.
I just want to touch on that too, because they want to talk about the files, but why did he not mention why Bill and Hillary refused to go and speak about those files?
Yep.
When they were called in and to give a testimony, they decided it was in their best interest not to do that. Why is he not concerned about that part?
Oh yeah, because all they're concerned about, it's a troll or a far leftist person. That's all they're concerned about is what the left has been pushing out. But I'm going to go ahead and switch us over to this video. Mm-hmm. This one came out. This is a new video that was just put out by O'Keefe. I found it last night, and they go inside they put underground investigative journalists. And what I think is funny is everybody tries to say that O'Keefe is some far right wing person. No, because they hire leftist and right people. They hired investigative journalists to go embed themselves into different congressional members or wherever they feel that there's fraud. They have put out dirt on Republicans and Democrats. They don't take a side. Now, obviously, it looks like they've put out more stuff on Democrats, but that's where they've been able to find the fraud. It's just they go where the stuff is. And some of the stuff that happens while he is in, like, nobody would think that a journalist in America would have to wear a bulletproof vest at a rally or a protest. I mean, the way they're dressed, you think they're in a war zone. And then people see their press. They
kind of are, though.
But then when the people start seeing that they're press, instead of wanting them to, like, trying to keep them there to tell their story and let their story be put out, they're telling them to leave and calling them ICE and feds and all this, attacking them, assaulting them. And it's like, you just got to see the video. This video really gets you into, it's what you don't see at CNN, what you don't see at ABC or CBS or NBC or even some of the Fox stuff shows. This O'Keefe video really shows you the frame of mind that these people are in and how far gone they are and how close they are to, it's like if you're not on their side, you're bad. It doesn't matter if you're a Democrat or Republican. If you're not there as one of them, you are evil.
Right.
Downtown Minneapolis.
What we found, NGOs and nonprofits funded by the government, featuring true believers.
Is the door locked?
Lock the door. Why are you giving us the middle finger?
Our undercover people were inside the mob.
National organizations used to look up Make the Road New York.
Are there chats and stuff? I'm trying to get linked up. Watch out. Here we go.
Not press. These guys aren't press. Not the fucking feds.
They threw something at me which hit the back of my bulletproof vest.
They're everywhere.
Shut the fucking doors.
Shut the door. Whoa. They threw a frozen ice brick at the car.
Scribe is how 4 million people turn processes into step-by-step guides. The hardest part.
Downtown Minneapolis, the day before the shooting of Alex Pretti, they were still protesting Renee Good. The O'Keefe team rolled into town in an SUV with tinted windows. They could not see inside. And what's remarkable is they start cursing at your car merely because it is an SUV, which they all perceive to be feds.
Is the door locked?
Lock the door. Why are you giving us the middle finger?
Right here, buddy. Get the fuck out of here.
Here comes the guy. Don't loan. Do not.
Yeah, I don't know what he's doing.
No, don't. See?
Just don't hit anybody, okay?
Usually I'm pretty confrontational, but we soon realized the only way to deal with these types of White Walkers, or zombies as we call them, is to just not engage.
Roll up your window now.
Anything else would lead to escalation and violence. It's safe to say that I've never seen anything like this in my life. Just driving down a street will have people scream to you and curse at you and threaten violence. In fact, independent journalist Cam Higbee was nearby and texted me at this time, telling me that trucks, Tahoes, Suburbans, SUVs are an absolute no-go. He advised us to get a Subaru or other mom car, or Honda, as he said. He mentioned they would bank our license plate. Our undercover people arrived at the tail end of the protest that evening, including myself.
Watchdog, how you doing? What's going on? It's Jay O'Connell, Watchdog. My fiance is a teacher.
Is she? What's she teach? What's she teach?
Special needs.
Where are we going? We're going to be up ice agents. Don't you have a thing to cover your face? Like this.
We heard chants of ICE out and fuck ICE.
Ice out. Fuck ice. Fuck ice. Fuck ice. Fuck ice.
Hopefully, the audience will forgive this reporter for participating in these chants in order to fit in. We found teachers, nurses, and union organizers all telling us, "We appreciate you, neighbor."
Appreciate your neighbor. Appreciate you, neighbor. I appreciate your neighbor. A guy came by before and he stopped here. It was a bunch of young kids and they handed out weed to everybody. Yeah. It was so cool. I gave all mine away, all but a little bit, because I wanted to at least try it. You got anything better than weed? Love? Are you a paid agitator? Just kidding.
While many, probably many of you, might think this is all due to some specific centralized funding source, what we found is a hodgepodge of various NGOs and nonprofits loosely tied together through ideology, funded in part by the government, featuring 501c3s with nonprofit tax returns, a variety of funding sources. But most of these people we found were actually true believers, there to live and die by their cause.
What is this about?
Yeah, so we're in the national organization.
This
Yeah, I think it's funny that they're out there that short time and they're finding people who are actually admitting that they're with NGOs and nonprofits and all this, talking openly about it, that they're out there literally funding these riots. And like I said, I mean, they were just literally at first driving through downtown Minneapolis and they were getting yelled at and cussed at and flipped off and attacked and people hitting their car. And the people didn't even know who they were. I mean, it shows you that they have, they're like rabid dogs. They're like zombies. They
mob mentality.
Yeah. And whether all of the people went out there to start that, you get 4 or 5 agitators in there and people start following along. Like I know Silver, we'll go back to the video in a minute, but I know like Silver was telling me how she has friends and family that were conservative stuff, but still live in that area. And all of a sudden now they've gone this way. And I'm like, it's that mob mentality. It's that I don't want to be left on the outside. It's that I don't want to feel like the outsider or everybody hate me. So I'm going to follow along. And then they start believing it too. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, they get pulled into it. And I'm sure that there's quite a thrill with it. You know, the average American person can't go out and just willy-nilly break laws and get away with it. But they do.
So
woman featured on a hidden camera is Peggy Wang. Based in Boston, she works at Massachusetts College of Art and Design. Active in the Massachusetts Teachers Association, she participates in pro-Palestinian protests, and her job is currently being threatened for doing so. While this footage is hard to hear, Peggy Wang lists the issues that her organization gets involved in: immigration rights, abolishing ICE, stopping raids and deportations, justice for victims, and getting ICE out of cities like Minneapolis.
I'd like to arrange our unions definitely need to take the fight against ICE, against genocide, but also fighting for reproductive rights, universal health care. The big part of that should be innovative labor, workers' party. We need a real political representation for working people.
Labor's and workers' parties. Does that sound familiar to you? Workers'
I can
party.
barely hear.
But
I can
she said labor.
make out
She
what
said,
she's saying.
I know, but she said workers' parties. I'm like, doesn't that sound familiar? I mean, that's what the Nazis were, workers' party.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, well, I mean, there's socialist groups and they're being funded by socialist groups. I don't know. This whole thing, it just seems like a way for the left to spill a narrative that they want to go toward that way. They want everybody to have their free medicine, free housing, free food, free everything. You just got to listen to what we say.
Yeah. And sorry, Ronnie, we're not reaching. We're literally talking about what's in this video. If you can't open and come from a non-emotional place and just look at it, whatever.
Okay, so is this a party? Independent socialist group.
We have got to the point where literally anybody can build a fully working.
Yeah, unfortunately, I stopped paying for the premium, so I got ads again.
We secretly recorded talks about an organization called Make the Road New York. We've never heard of this organization, but apparently they have a budget of $30 million. They talk about one of the speakers that spoke earlier that day, April Pretti. April is the president of the SEIU labor union.
I mean, if you're interested in an immigrants' rights organization, you should look up Make the Road New York.
Make the road New York.
Make the road.
But who are you with?
I'm just with with the union.
Oh.
Yeah. SEIU, Service Employees International.
We looked at the tax returns of Make the Road New York and found they're a registered 501c3 that file a 990, and they received $16 million in grants.
Ice out! Fuck ICE! We love our neighbors!
As cars drove by, the agitators would ride on top of the cars. One man's spoiler was broken off his car as one agitator tried to climb on board the car.
What happened?
Oh, just accidentally broke his wing on his car.
Oh, shit. Oh, they slapped the shit out of that wing right there.
One of the comments they made was, there's no blood here, and there's no Trump people, there's no MAGA people, because if there was, there would be blood.
We had one person. Oh, I had to have a have any fascists trying through here today? Nope, not yet. See any blood on the ground? No, I haven't seen any blood. That's how we know there's no fascists. They haven't showed up. They haven't showed up.
One of the advantages of it being so cold is we were able to cover every single part of our skin. But these conditions were truly dangerous. Many of our DSLR cameras actually froze. Our hidden cameras malfunctioned in minutes because it was so cold.
You make this is your thing?
I made it for the Powderhorn Art Festival because I want to melt ice and get them the fuck out of here.
It's not melting. Oh, it's like what? Oh, you know why? Because it's so cold out.
Yeah.
And we watched water freeze in seconds. A bottle of water could quickly be turned into a weapon. Negative 17-degree weather. Let's see what happens to water. Let's see how fast that freezes. 1, 2, 3. It's already frozen. On our second day, January 24th, something happened that we never anticipated.
Oh shit! What the fuck?
There was a second shooting. We were only a few miles away when that happened. There was just a shooting. And any updates that you've seen while you were sitting there, you guys reading the news?
The biggest updates that we have is that the mayor just announced that you need to decide what side you're on. Either you're on the side of Minneapolis or you're on the side of the federal government.
Did you hear what he just said? That Jacob said that you got to decide whether you're on the side of Minneapolis or the side of the federal government. That's sedition.
Sedition.
I mean,
that's sedition. Absolutely.
That's literally saying that they got to decide whether they're going to support the state or the federal government, which is pretty much calling for a civil war. And I'm sorry, but this isn't happening in any other state. So Minnesota, y'all want to call for that? It would be the shortest civil war in world history. You would be squashed like you bug in a day.
The fact that you touch base on that, everybody else seems to be missing that because you hear about it constantly. Minnesota, but they're not the only state with ICE in them. But they are the only state with their governor, their mayor, and everybody else saying fight against it.
I mean, they are one of the only states that has ICE and Border Patrol in the numbers because the federal government won't, because the local and state government won't help. But in all the other states where the local governments are assisting, whether that means allowing them, like they've got 1,300, they've released over 400 criminal legal immigrants from the jails that had detainer orders on them, and they still have 1,300 convicted criminal legal immigrants who have detainer orders on them that are sitting in the city jails that they won't turn over. I mean, it's not necessarily that they've got to actually go out and help and pick these guys up, but it's not making them go chase for everything. That's why Border Patrol's been in there helping. And pretty much Trump said, you do this, then Border Patrol will leave. It'll just be the regular ICE. Because, I mean, ICE is doing this stuff here in Texas. You don't see this happening. ICE and Border Patrol were in Louisiana. You don't see it happen in Florida.
Nope.
Go down the line.
Right. Well, Tim Walz, and I mean, that whole Minnesota leadership, if you look at the money that's just missing there, that doesn't add up for all these daycares and all of the transportation companies where there's no actual business. and all that money's unaccounted for, you know, it looks to me like they're trying to hide something.
Or how about the video of the company that was in Ohio that was supposed to be verify or investigate or certify the daycare stuff in Minnesota and Ohio, that all the doors were welded shut and nobody had been there for years. But let's keep playing, because it's about to get really good on some of the stuff that we're about to see how far these people have lost it, really.
No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace.
Around noon local time, when people started to descend, walking down the street, mobs of people appeared out of nowhere, all walking in the direction of the shooting. We wondered, where did these people come from and how did they know so quickly to mobilize? Our undercover people were inside the mob.
I can't believe this happened again. I drove down from Colorado to come yesterday. We were going to leave today, and then all that just happened. Like,
you can help support the community.
Yeah, of course. I mean,
I know, a good time. I mean, like, I'm glad you guys are here, because, I don't know what the fuck is going on.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how they're going to keep getting away with this.
Yeah, and are there like group, are there chats and stuff? I'm trying to get linked up and stuff, and
unfortunately, just because you're out of towner, I don't know if I feel comfortable like putting you in chats and shit, just because there's like so many fucking ops.
You
know what I mean?
Yeah.
If they're so worried about ops, if they're legal chats, if they're good chats, if there's nobody in there doing anything wrong, why would you worry about ops? Really?
Wouldn't.
Agitator confirms the reporting done by citizen journalist Cam Higbee, who posted a video on X of all the signal chats. The agitator talks about the signal chats. Just seconds later, after having that conversation, our undercover reporter was tear gassed.
Okay.
I don't feel comfortable like.
Oh no, okay, yeah. You're fine. Yeah, I just drove down here, me and my brother, and he's a film editor, so he's filming it. Watch out. Here we go.
You fucking cowards!
Our undercover reporter was invited into the lobby of a nearby apartment complex where the agitators were wiping tear gas off their face.
Oh, fuck, I was fucking tear gassed.
Yep. Let's say I live here if anybody needs in for a second. I got you.
It stains like on your clothes and burns.
Yeah, you'll smell it on your clothes.
And they'll keep burning. That's great.
Go to upstairs and find.
Right, can I just sit right here, dude? I just.
Hello, my name is Adam Ferrari, the chief executive.
Yeah, it's. I'm trying to get to this. If it's to the chasing part.
Ice out now!
Jeez.
Shame on you! Shame on you! Shame on you! Shame!
Yeah, we gotta take the best off.
Eventually, I just.
Yeah, let's.
And they'll
right
keep
here.
burning. That's great.
Go to upstairs and find.
Right, can I just sit right here, dude? I just.
Ice out now! Shame on you! Shame on you! Shame on you! Shame! Shame! Shame!
When that happened, I decided to arrive. We rolled up about 10 blocks from the scene of the tear gas. What struck me was this was not a bad neighborhood. The neighborhood looked like many of the neighborhoods that you live in. And immediately, as we got out of the car, 4 to 5 women asked us who we were with.
I'd love to see some sort of media. Just curious. Like, I would love to see just like your work.
Yeah. Exposing exposed to what's happening.
Yeah, stop taking pictures of me, bro. Stop taking pictures. No, you're not. These guys are not press.
No, we are press.
Let's see them.
Yeah, we gotta take the best off.
Eventually, I decided to identify myself as a member of the press, specifically a member of OK Media, as in O'Keefe Media. I even had a press badge.
Hand it to us.
If it's real, just hand it to her.
Yeah, no, it's right here.
Go give it back.
These guys are not press. I looked up OK Media. It's from Portugal. They're not from Portugal.
Bizarrely, the agitator claimed that OK Media was Portuguese.
I looked up your fucking website. It's all Portuguese. And none of their work is political at all.
What's fascinating about this interaction is the statement from the agitator, quote, "They're not political at all." What dawned upon me in that moment was it wasn't a good thing we weren't political. It was actually a liability. If you're not a member of their team, if you don't believe exactly what they believe, you are their enemy. Even if you're neutral, you must be destroyed or killed.
Stop taking pictures of people.
I'm not taking pictures. I'm taking pictures of him.
Stop. Why? What the fuck is the point?
Because we're press.
We got it.
Tell me the website.
I mean, look at this. They couldn't even make it 10 feet from their car. And I'm sorry, but if you are out there protesting legally and following the First Amendment, you should want to get your story out. You should want the media or the press there, whether they oppose you or they're for you. You should want both sides there. That's the thing about the First Amendment and how American works is you go back in the 60s and 70s and you had corresponding protests, one person for one thing, the other person against, and you didn't see this stuff happening. People protested and they protested civilly and peacefully because that's what America is about. The First Amendment about is being able to speak speech that is hate, that people don't like, that is disliked, that's not good speech. That's the whole point of it, is for every side to be able to speak their mind and get their point across civilly and peacefully without being attacked. But these people are oppressed, and whether you think, and it's funny at that time, look, they were saying, oh, they're not political. Well, if they're not political, then why do you care?
Why does it matter?
Why does it matter? And even if they are political, why? I mean, these, you're going to see here in a minute, they couldn't even get anything really recorded once they had identified themselves as press versus just being protesters.
These guys aren't press.
These guys are not press.
We are press. My press.
These guys are not press.
We're press.
Then they were able to ID me. A woman pulled up my Wikipedia page, which labeled me as a far-right activist, and it went all downhill from there.
I don't know.
Not the fucking fed.
Shame.
They threw something at me, which hit the back of my Kevlar plate.
There's a contract most retail traders.
Yeah, I mean, this is just, look, the second they figure out they don't like him, they call him a Fed. I mean, that's just ridiculous.
Shame.
My security determined this was an unsafe situation, so we retreated back to the SUV. So the key is when we get to the car, we're going to get in and get out right now, okay? But they continued to follow us.
Those guys are fed. Don't let them take your picture. Those guys are fed. Don't let them take your picture.
All you can do is merely disengage and try your best to get out. But they follow you, and they don't stop following you. It felt like a whole...
They weren't acting like an asshole. They were just out there trying to videotape. They weren't doing anything. They were the ones that were accosted and harassed, and it was the protesters that were being assholes. They were just trying to go out there and record what was going on and videotape it as press does.
Right. And identified themselves boldly as press.
Oh, yeah.
To organize an army, recruiting members of the mob to follow us.
Those guys are feds. Yeah, the press. Feds.
These are fed.
Our cameraman actually pulled his mask down to try to show them that we are actually press.
If I was a Fed, I wouldn't take off my mask.
We got into the vehicle and they started throwing projectiles at us. Frozen water bottles at us. One hit my security in the back of the neck.
I am shooting.
Shoot.
I'm shooting.
Whoa. Where's this guy? We're fucking press. We're press. Do you know what the First Amendment is? Go. Do you support the First Amendment? Do you support the First Amendment? Yes or no?
I'm against
Only if it benefits them.
yelling and throwing things. We're not doing nothing.
You just assaulted us. We're press.
Yeah, I think it's hilarious that they say that, oh, we're about the First Amendment, but literally O'Keefe and them are out there trying to participate in their First Amendment right. The press.
Yeah,
Freedom
but
of speech
they're
and the
only
press.
about it if it benefits them. They're only okay with it if you believe what they believe.
Yeah.
They don't want free press. They want objective press that sees it their way.
Oh yeah, I mean it's just ridiculous. But it's here in a minute. It's about to show how far these once they've done this, it's just crazy. You would think once they've chased them out, they would let them go, and they don't.
Mm-mm.
We're trying. All right. No problem, bro. I got you.
Man, they're just everywhere. Look, turn around. They're everywhere.
Shut the fucking doors.
Shut the door.
Shut the fucking doors.
They threw a frozen
Ice
brick at the car.
Take off your vest again quickly. Yes, I gotta fucking bring a lot. Here, throw it in the back.
Yeah, I don't know. It's this. You could get killed, man. You could get killed. There's no First Amendment anymore in this country. No, there's not. It's over. Game over. Now there's a cop. What is that?
It's an ambulance.
Okay. Yeah, let me get out of Dodge and regroup. But this is not safe. This is not safe for you and I. Okay. So we were 1 became 20 became 100. They just started assaulting us. They started attacking us, and I think my realization is that we are headed towards a civil war in this country. There is no way that's going to be avoided. There's total lawlessness. They don't care that we're press. Anybody who is not on their side will be destroyed, killed. Everyone's afraid. No one wants to expose anything. It's all about greed and money and power. People need to wake up because that's what the future looks like. That's the future. I felt like we're in a movie. Perhaps Children of Men would be the closest metaphor I could see. Zombies attacking the car, attacking you. Cartel guys, you should put in the line in the sand. Cartel was running away from me when I pulled up with the press vest in California. But here, they throw bricks at the police. They don't give a fuck. They're just gonna come for everyone. Oh, I'm just gonna protect my portfolio and make sure my kids are safe behind my picket fence. Okay, for another few years that'll work. Eventually they'll come for you. We went back to our hotel. My undercover reporter found spotters from their groups spying on us, following us, and reporting back to their signal chats. We have to get out of the hotel.
James, go back.
Okay, I need you with me.
Yeah, let's go.
We have to get out of the hotel. They got spotters in the hotel, so now we got to get just out of Minneapolis. Come on. We soon realized we had to change hotels and moved to another location 30 minutes away.
They took 3 pictures of us, and then now they're changing lanes and trying to act like I didn't see them.
You want to slow down so we can figure out what's going on?
Yeah.
Okay, he's slowing down too?
Yep.
Dude, that's wild.
Yep.
People were following us on the freeway. Reporter Cam Higbee also reported that people were following him.
But they turn with us?
I dare you to let me build you.
I mean, that's ridiculous. They can't. They're literally being followed to freaking going
White
where they're going.
Chevy Silverado with the newly changed plates with the coexist sticker on the back. We're on Irving and Lake Street. We seem to be the only commuters following. Just wanted to give
Watch
an update
this
on
one
our
with Cam
location.
Higbee.
We aren't ICE. We are not ICE. We're not ICE. We're not ICE.
I'm showing my face. I'm not.
We punched you. We're not ICE. Yeah, they've been following us for over an hour. We're just letting them know, and they.
Not in a nice vehicle, right?
No.
Right.
Right. Get in your truck and get the fuck out. Why? Because you need to go. Confirmed ICE. Get the fuck out.
Confirmed ICE through who? We're American citizens.
You get that right there. Not a nice vehicle, correct? And then he goes,
Right.
get the fuck out because you're confirmed ICE. What sense
Right.
does that fucking make that, oh, it's not an ICE vehicle. And I'm sorry, but I don't know what people are teaching these idiots out here. But every government vehicle, as we call them in the military, G rides, have a government plate.
Government plate. Absolutely.
It literally
and they
says,
have to.
It says either U.S. government or Department of the Navy, Department of the Army, Department of the Air Force, Department of Energy. It literally states what government it's from.
Right.
You know it's a government plate. One way to tell it's a government vehicle is there's no inspection stickers. There's no tags. They're exempt from all inspections and tags. They would not have a DC plate. They won't have a Florida plate. They won't have any of that. They won't have a Minnesota plate. It is a government plate. I mean, this just shows you how in the whistle stuff, that's what Nazi Germany did when they told them, when they said, if you found a Jew to blow a whistle. I mean, this is literally the brown shirts or red shirts from freaking Nazi Germany.
But when you hear them talk, they throw that finger in our direction or ISIS direction.
Oh yeah.
Anybody who doesn't agree is a Nazi, and anybody who doesn't agree is they're racist or xenophobes or whatever we are. And the reality is these people are doing a damn job. Whether you like it or not, if you stayed out of the way, it wouldn't be what it is now. This could have all been avoided if Joe Biden would have done his job.
Oh yeah.
People that you're abducting. Get out.
It was incredible to see how people act when they're stopped. It was impossible to convince them that you are not ICE. If you are not them, you are automatically ICE.
If you don't hear your name called, they most likely think you're a Fed. That's actually better than them thinking that you're James O'Keefe. It's better that you're a Fed than James O'Keefe, according to our source. But again, if you're thinking about, don't try this at home, but if you do, come here to Minneapolis, get on the freeway, exchange the SUV or the pickup truck for a Subaru. You want to look like your mom. You want to look like you're a teacher. You want to look like you got that union sticker on the back of your car. You get that union sticker put on your car. You do not want to have an SUV like us. Lesson learned. Let's get inside the hotel. Yeah.
Upon getting to our next hotel, my security detail showed me a text message that he had received from what appeared to be a burner number threatening to kill us if we do not vacate the city of Minneapolis within the next hour.
We just got this message, and it says, we know that you're in Minneapolis. You're with O'Keefe and his crew of Nazis. You're in a white Ford license plate. They actually wrote the license plate down from Florida. You have 1 hour to leave or you're dead. You have 1 hour to leave or you're dead.
I mean, that's pretty much the end of it. But yeah, I mean, it's just ridiculous that it's getting to the point where they're literally having their lives threatened.
Right. And that sounds completely peaceful protest to me when you're threatening to take people's lives. So I want to touch base over here because this guy is all about the Epstein files. Let me clarify from my standpoint. I believe that the Epstein files should be released. Absolutely.
And they have.
But again, I want to know why you're not over here screaming and yelling in the comments. Why didn't Hillary and Bill show up when they were asked to come and answer questions? So again, it seems you want those files released for a specific purpose, but clearly it's not the right purpose. You don't want the truth to be exposed, because if you did, you'd be over here screaming, why aren't Bill and Hillary in handcuffs for not coming and not doing what they were asked to do by the federal government?
And it was Bill that was in law. And Bill was the only one that showed up in pictures at the island, at his at the island and at the New Mexico ranch where he was known to do those things. Trump was all plane flights he was on with them was like 4 of them. The last one was 96, which was right before he bought the island, but it was before he even started using the island, because the island didn't become used till 98. And each one of those flights that Trump was on were from like Florida to New York, and they were with his whole family. His wife was on there. His kids were on there. The nanny was on there. It wasn't him with a bunch of underage people. It was with his kids.
Right.
This guy was a businessman and a financier. Nobody really knew about his stuff until the late 90s, early 2000s. By that time, Trump had already cut his stuff up. But I'm not going to keep going down this rabbit hole of the Epstein files. They're done with. They've been released. Everything's out there.
Well, what aggravates me is just the way that their mindset works. They're
Yeah.
they want to hunt the orange man. Look, I don't follow any person. I think Trump is doing a very good job for the most part. Do I think he's dropped the ball? Absolutely. Do I think he could do better in certain areas? Without question.
Well,
But in the
everybody
same
can.
respect, I don't think that they want the truth. They just want the orange man.
No, their TDS is so effing bad. Is so bad they can't even admit when he's done something good. The whole left
Oh, yeah.
cannot. They will not let him have a single win. They need something that's good, that like the ballroom. Okay, that wasn't something he planned. That ballroom had been planned for years and years because we were one of the only developed nations in the world that didn't have somewhere to entertain foreign hosts. When they came, we had to literally put tents out on the White House lawn and porta potties. And you got princes and kings and queens and heads of states using porta potties at the White House. I mean, it's disgusting. It's just not, doesn't look good. And we're supposed to be the world power.
We're the pinnacle,
nation.
But go to the porta potty.
Yeah. And so, I mean, it's just, they can't, if Biden had been the one to do tear down the East Wing and build it, everything would have been fine, even though Biden would have spent like $2 billion in freaking taxpayer money because it would have been so over budget, so overspent, versus President Trump did it for $300 million. And he's not even spending any taxpayer money. It's all privately raised funds.
Like I say, it just doesn't matter to them. They just want Trump to be bad or wrong so much they don't see anything he does. So just like recently, he proved that he could run this country off of tariffs the way that it was originally ran. And as soon as that proof came to light, they hurried up and reopened the government because they didn't want that. They didn't want their base to see that he's telling the truth.
If any files haven't been released, it's files that were still involved in a current ongoing case, because they released thousands of files after the original release this last time when they gave the second dump. And that was all of all of the grand jury stuff and anything. So if there's any files that they haven't released, it would be due to the fact that there's still open cases on those files, because they're not going to release documents if there's somebody still under investigation for those files. They can't.
Right.
But they have released they released everything they possibly can.
Also want to clarify this. I voted Trump. Absolutely. I lean more right. Absolutely. But to make it clear, I would not be upset if on every streaming application on the internet, every television in America for the next 30, 60, 90 days had perp walks from the White House all the way through. I would not be upset.
And what I think is
funny, too many corrupt people in this country that are in high-powered places that are robbing the American people.
What I think is funny is these far left, the leftists, and the ones why I won't. You've been on my TikTok lives where people go, "Oh, you only got 12 people in here. Look what we have in here right now." It's TikTok that's doing it to me. It's not that. Yeah. It's not that I can't. We've got over 400 on my YouTube alone. It's been over 1,400 since we started, not including all the other stuff we're streaming, and that's not including how many are showing up on Q Broadcasting and everything else that we're streaming across.
Right.
I can just see what's on these. But I think it's funny how they always want to go back to Epstein. They want to go back to the criminal stuff. They want to go back to all these things. What about Venezuela? What about Iran? What about Cuba? What about China and Russia? What about Ukraine? What about everything that's going on right now? What about the coming up midterm elections? I mean, we're literally primaries for the midterms in Texas are literally almost a month and like a couple days away. March 5th or on March the 5th. They're barely over a month away. That's not. They want to deflect everything to these protests, and they want to talk about past. They don't want to talk about all the fraud. And I'm sorry, I don't care if you're Republican, Democrat, Independent, Libertarian, purple alien from Zotran or whatever. You should not like fraud.
Right.
Uncovering fraud, investigating it, and arresting and charging people with crimes for stealing taxpayer money, your money that comes out of your paycheck. If you're a red-blooded working American, you've paid taxes. That fraud affects you. It affects your children because that's increasing the debt. It's increasing the everything. And that's money your children have to pay. You should be against that. It shouldn't be a partisan thing. And every time I talk about it, they're like, oh, well, what about this Republican? What about that Republican? I'm like, if you can prove that they did fraud, then arrest them.
Put them in jail. Absolutely.
I'm sorry, but if you commit taxpayer fraud, if you steal welfare, whether it's welfare or Social Security or whatever, if you're committing fraud in that way, any state, any party should be, if they are just proved and they can be convicted in a court of law, they should be thrown in jail. Period.
Absolutely.
Because
insider trading, all of it. If you can change a law to financially benefit you, that's not right. And I understand that in all countries it happens. But if we don't set the bar higher, then it's our fault. We allowed it.
And everybody talks about, oh, they're attacking Ilhan Omar because this and that. No, it's like her and Nancy Pelosi. How do you go from literally working? Ilhan Omar worked really nothing before she got into and is now worth $25 million in less than 10 years. And she's making $175,000 a year. She's not even a speaker making $240 or anything like that, over the 200 range. And then you have somebody like Nancy Pelosi that made 170, who's been retiring this term, but at the end of this term, but was 30, 40 years making. So it was below 175 for a good part of her life. Yeah. And then when she was speaker, up around 200 and something. How does she become worth hundreds of millions of dollars? And how does her stock investments perform at 400% of the Dow? It's not even the best businessmen and best investors, the top investment minds in our time, like Warren Buffett, see that type of return.
Yeah, she makes Warren Buffett look like he's playing with crayons.
Yeah, I mean, Warren Buffett is still on his best years, averages like only 23% return. And that's still a really high return for stock investing. The average stock investment's about 6.5%, 6 to 7%, right in that range. And it's like, obviously there's somehow they're getting that. It's not just they're getting insider information. They're knowing when to buy stuff based on what's going on. We talk about all these underhand politics and the money in politics. Well, that's part of it right there. Because if the people are sitting there giving them information to do this, and lobbyists are sitting there say buy this and buy that, now they owe them. They made them rich. Now they owe them. And that's why Washington and everything hated Trump. That's why when Trump originally go watch Oprah back in the 80s. She was begging for Trump to run for president because he was a Democrat back then. I mean, technically he was still a Democrat when he ran, but the problem was the Democratic Party went so far left that he was now a Republican.
Right.
If he had ran as a Democrat, everybody would have loved him. They begged him to run. But because he ran as a Republican, all of a sudden he was a racist and all this stuff, when yet he was good friends with Oprah Winfrey, and you can go down the line, had gotten awards for helping the African Americans and helping interracial stuff. And it's just crazy. The reason why the Democrats came after him like that is because nobody can control him. He is the first. He is the first president that wasn't a member of the Bilderberg Group. He's the first president. All the presidents before him, they all, whether they were Democrat or Republican, all wanted to go the same way. They were all taking us the same direction. They just had different ideas of how to get the country to that direction. Where Trump is not part of the globalist agenda, and they don't own him. Yeah, they don't own him. They can't control him, and that's why they hate him, because he's not beholden anybody. And even though Elon Musk did give a lot of money to his campaigns, he even proved that he would not allow to be bought, because even after Elon Musk had spent all that money, he didn't give him the FAA contract. He didn't give him the one NASA contract, and he didn't pick Elon's NASA's pick for NASA. He didn't pick the person that Elon said he would like to see heading NASA. He proved right there. He cut Elon a bunch of millions and millions of billions of dollars of lost contracts because he was in the part of the Trump's administration and giving him money to prove that he can't be bought.
Yeah. Well, that's the reason I voted for Trump, was simply that. He's not a career politician. He's going to do whatever he chooses to do, and he doesn't give a damn who he makes mad.
Okay, see, here they're going back.
That's why I voted.
Here's somebody going back to Rick Scott. One, I can't control what Florida did. Like I said, if you can prove Rick Scott did everything that you said that they say he's done, involved with tax fraud or welfare fraud or whatever, then arrest him. But he went from Ohio or something to Florida. That just shows. It's another problem is people need to start. This is another reason why I said last night we need to get rid of this party stuff. Okay, the GOP or the Republican Party is not part of the Constitution or part of our government. The Democratic Party or the DNC is not part of our government. They are corporations. All they care about is money, power, and control. They care about their shareholders. We need to stop. They've got us out here fight at each other's throats like it's a Cowboys fan telling an Eagles fan they're a Cowboys fan, or it's a Patriots fan telling a New York Giants fan they're a Patriots fan or something. Whatever that tribalism and that fight, when in reality, when reality is when the most middle America, if you get together and you don't talk Republican or Democrat and you just talk social issues, the majority of us can come to either agree to disagree, or we can come to a middle ground where we can agree, because we all want the same thing. We want to leave a better place for our children. We want a more prosperous future for our kids. We want the world to be a cleaner and safer place. It's the Democratic Party doesn't care anything about the American people. They care about power, money, and control. Same thing with the GOP. And obviously, like the guy that does the Liberty Show said, we can't really get rid of parties per se, because you don't want a one-party system per se, because then everybody would fall on with that one leader. But we need to get rid of that label and that tribalness of the parties. I mean, you're always going to have somebody that kind of leans one way or the other. Like you have the anti-federalist or the federalist, an originalist or a living constitutionalist. You're always going to have those different philosophies, but we need to get rid of the parties and the teams, because all it does is it drives division in us. And you get people who, like Rick Scott, that maybe shouldn't have been reelected, but get reelected because he's a Republican running that spot. And so everybody just votes party. They don't actually look at his background. They don't look at what he did or what he was possibly did. They don't look into his whatever. They figure
voting history.
Yeah, they don't look at his voting history. They don't actually look into the civil parts of it. They just go in and they check Republican or directly Republican ballot, or they go in and they vote. And because the Democrat, they're not going to vote for Democrat because we're so divided that they know that person's never going to vote with the Republican, because the party is because the parties that are controlling it right now will sit there and say, hey, if you don't vote, fall in line, we're not going to give you any, you're not going to get funded. We're going to cut you out of all the money from the DNC, all the super PACs and all that. We're going to cut you out of that money. We're not going to give you any extra funding money to help run your campaign, and we're going to run somebody against you. If you eliminated that, where the only money they have is money that they raise, that they have in their own pocket, or they raise from the outside, then people could be Democrat but still vote sometimes with the Republicans, because they would vote based on their policy beliefs, not necessarily the party line. And that's the problem is we need to go back to where people elect their representatives based on policy, not party. We need to quit party divides us, and it allows our government to take away our rights and do stuff to us that nobody's paying attention because they're so busy fighting each other over party.
Right. Well, so the American people, I hear it all the time. They complain that we don't have power. And the reality is we do have power. It's the ballot box. If you go in and you look at what they stand for, if you do your own research on what that person, that political individual, how they vote, where they lean, where their money comes from, then you make your assessments from that, regardless, like you said, whether they're Republican or Democrat, you vote on what they've done.
Yeah. And 8451, that's what I was trying to say, is that's why they dislike Trump, is because he is not under control like Democrat or Republicans, because he's not owned. He doesn't need to get rich. He doesn't need all that money. He doesn't need to come out of, he has not become a president to become rich. I mean, you look at any past president, Democrat or Republican, they go into, except for maybe the last time would have been Reagan because he was an actor. But you look at Clinton, they were like $650,000 in the hole when they went into presidency. They came out worth millions. Bush was worth a little bit of money, but not a whole lot, came out richer than he went in. Obama went in dead broke, came out rich. Trump is the first president in like 40 some odd, 50 some odd years that actually came out of the presidency broker than he went in.
Right. Lost money to be the president.
Yeah. That actually lost money to be president.
Mm-hmm.
And
so, and they miss that part. They don't look at it. They're telling you how much money he's making. He donates his presidential salary. I mean, the man pulls from his own pocket and pays things that shouldn't be paid by him. So I don't care, like him, don't like him, that's fine. But like you said, he came out with less money than he went in with, and no one else did that. That says something.
Yeah, and especially even when presidents, they're not getting paid a lot of money. They get $400,000, and then wait till you see what they get charged for meals and stuff. Mm-hmm. Wait till you see what they don't get free food at the White House. They get charged for those meals. It comes out of their checks, so their checks aren't as much as you think. And they're still paying for their regular home. They're still paying for wherever they live. Yeah. Plus paying.
So
to live
they
in the
have
White
to
House.
pay for their chefs. They have to pay for all of that. So the average person doesn't realize that either. They pay for their meals, they're paid for their help, and Trump pays all of that from his own pocket because he donates a salary.
Yep. And so
that might be why he's eating McDonald's, though. I'm just throwing that out there.
Yeah, but it's just the point of people just don't understand, and that's the problem is our country does not teach civics anymore. Nobody really truly understands civics or understands how the government works anymore. What they think that, whatever a law says, that's exactly what it means. But I've said this many a times is, no, that's not. You've got to learn. You got to know how to read between the lines. Plus, you got to pay attention to is it and or? Is it you or we or me or if? Is it I? There's so many different ways that you change one adjective, one adverb, one noun, one conjugation, one negation. It's a total different meaning. Mm-hmm. It's not as simple as just going, it's not black and white and just reading what it says. And then also you got to dig into the actual case law and that law to see how the judges have ruled, because a lot of those laws are left open to the interpretation of the judges. The judges have a lot of there's certain areas where they get required minimum sentences and stuff like that. But other areas, judges have a lot of leeway in how they rule in those cases. And that sets precedent of what that law actually does. And so you've got to look at that legal precedent in those laws. Same thing with Constitution, the Constitution and different amendments in there is it's not, you can't just read it and go, this is what it is. Like, First Amendment, freedom of speech, freedom of the press, freedom of religion. That doesn't mean you can go say anything you want, do anything you want. We've been proven that. Go look at Supreme Court precedent. You can't yell fire in crowded theater. You can't use fighting words, or you can't use hate speech. Hate speech at a certain point. You can use hate speech to a certain level, then it's passed. I mean, obviously, then you got defamation. So it's not as simple as, but some people, especially when I'm on TikTok, they're like, that's misinformation, or that's not correct. I'm like, or propaganda. I'm like, no, that's just my interpretation of the Constitution. And I've written plenty of papers and never gotten a 0 on them. So obviously my interpretation is a view of half, and it's based off of Supreme Court precedent. Maybe it's a dissenting view, but that doesn't matter, because I can sit there and say what my view is on something. Obviously, even if it's a dissenting view, as at the time goes, I have to, if it comes down to it, I have to follow the rule of the majority view. But that doesn't mean I can't say the majority got it wrong. That I believe the majority got it wrong, and the minority had the dissenting view right. Because I mean, there's so many people now that would argue that the overturning of Roe v. Wade was wrong. Well, no, that's the minority judges that said now, but the majority said that Roe v. Wade should have never happened because it literally put words into the constitutional amendment that were never there. And I feel like they got it right this time. I feel like the original majority got it wrong because they added something in the Constitution that wasn't there. If you want a constitutional amendment to say something or mean something different than it should, then ask and push your congressional members to push for a constitutional convention, Article 5 constitutional convention, or to submit an amendment to the Constitution and get it ratified. Because that's what our founding fathers left us, was they left us a living Constitution in the fact that you can add amendments to a constitutional convention or through the amendment process of both houses, the president, and ratify in the states. I mean, it's simple as that.
I think you just spoke French to a lot of people.
Well, I mean, it's the truth. I'm sorry. It's not that's what it's saying is if that's French to them, then they can't sit there and say that stuff's misinformation or stuff because obviously they don't understand the law or understand the Constitution, how it was written or anything like that.
Right.
And I guess it's ridiculous, but I guess we'll go ahead and wrap things up. We're kind of over an hour. I'm going to probably jump on TikTok live here and see if maybe their systems are back up.
Yeah, well, they might be, but you're gonna run into that anywhere you go, bro.
Oh yeah. Well, not on here. I mean, I still haven't hit the one day I had my first one. I had like 1,000. I still haven't reached that yet, but I'm still averaging like 500-600 live at a time. But it's that over an hour and a half. It still is depending on the views. It's got to be in the 10,000 range, or at least 5 or 10,000 range views between all of them. But all right, well, we're gonna wrap this. Well, we'll wrap things up with this one tonight. You can go ahead and leave. I'm just gonna do the closing and we're done. But
all right. Well, I appreciate you letting.
Oh, sorry about that. But yep. All right. All right. Well, we're wrapping things up with this one tonight. The big idea, the one that can't get lost in the sound and the fury. This isn't about whether citizens can protest. They can. This isn't about whether citizens can organize. They can. And this sure as hell isn't about whether American citizens can criticize the federal government. That's a foundational to who we are. The only question is whether organizations turned into obstruction. If signal chats were used to surveil federal officers, coordinate movements of a crowd, or prevent federal law enforcement from doing their jobs, that isn't protesting, that's a crime. And in a constitutional republic, crimes are punished based on evidence and due process, not through mob rule or media narratives. Federal officers don't lose their authority because it's politically inconvenient. The Supremacy Clause doesn't stop at the state borders. And if we allow selective enforcement of federal law based on those sentiments, crime wins. Minnesota will likely be the national proving grounds again, not due to geography, but ideology. The investigation will proceed, facts will be presented, and if folks need to be held accountable, they will. Because in America, we don't drive power from chats, mobs, or politics. We drive power from the Constitution of the United States. That's the big idea. All right, well, I'm Dr. Hill Law with me with tonight. Usually it's Joe St. Clair, but tonight was the Viking. Don't forget to hit that follow or subscribe button, depending on where you're watching from, and hit the notification bell if you're on YouTube so you don't miss future episodes. Hit the like button so more people see our content, and also check out our website, No Kings on the Hill with drolaw.com. And there you can connect with our socials, TikTok, Facebook, X, YouTube, all that, and catch me on my TikTok lives daily. And also you can sign up on the website to get access to weekly blogs. And again, we are live every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Eastern on the Patriots Pair Network via Q Broadcasting, and then also No Kings on the Hill, YouTube, X, and Facebook. But Facebook was having issues tonight. So y'all have a good night and good week.